Hello everybody, welcome to Peace Through Truth. Due to my time frame tonight, I'm actually going to try a slightly different approach of using a pre-prepared statement that I made earlier today in order to save time. I usually just wing my videos and come at my topics with no real rhyme or reason, but in this case, I'm hoping that having a pre-prepared statement and somewhat of a direction planned out will help me stay on topic and keep focused. So basically, here we go. I have been researching how the government, military, and corporations like media systems have been manipulating the weather for warfare and profit, things that go together like peanut butter or jelly, for a number of years now by going through reports and PDF files released by the Defense Department and other information released to the public by companies like Media Systems. But it was only recently that I came to the realization that parts of the infrastructure required to alter atmospheric conditions, things like radio towers, types of radar, and or cell phone towers that can emit E.L.F waves, or extremely low frequency waves, are also key components in today's modern psychological warfare programs because of the effects that E.L.F waves have on the human brain. Quoting a passage from the very end of a PDF file on psychological warfare titled From Psy-op to Mind War, The Psychology of Victory, from the U.S. Army Reserve's 7th Psychological Operations Group, it says, and again I quote, E.L.F waves up to 100 Hz are once more naturally occurring, but they can also be produced artificially. E.L.F waves are not normally noticed by the unaided senses, yet their resonant effect upon the human body has been connected to both physiological disorders and emotional distortion. Infrasound vibration up to 20 Hz can subliminally influence brain activity to align itself to delta, theta, alpha, or beta wave patterns, inclining an audience toward everything from alertness to passivity. Infrasound can be used tactically, as E.L.F waves endure for great distances, and it could be used in conjunction with media broadcasts as well. Now, obviously, I found the last sentence of that to be very, very intriguing, as we know the media is the most powerful entity on the planet, and we know the kind of Psy-Ops that have been being pulled lately. Now, for anyone who doesn't know where I'm going with this, my question to you is, if the government and these corporations both have this technology and understand how it can be used to alter the thinking and mindset of entire populations, and it is not normally noticed by unaided senses, do you really think that they are just going to leave it on the shelf when they can be hitting you with it with very little additional operational cost for them? I personally think not. If there is money to be made and people to be swayed, they are going to do it. After all, these folks don't usually develop technology or weapons that they have no intentions of using. Below in the description box, I will leave a few links to PDF files for reports from the military that involve the use of weather modification techniques as a weapon of war and the use of psychological warfare. I'll also leave a link to a weather modification company's website that discusses using the same types of infrastructure for their own purposes in weather modification for profit. But I do believe these two projects are very interconnected, hence why I'm making this video. Now, there are other parts of this PDF report that I find very, very both interesting and relevant. For instance, the involvement of Michael A. Aquino, who happens to be one of the leading Satanists in America. He was the founder of the Temple of Set, I believe, back in 1975, which is obviously a satanic temple. And it's probably no surprise that something like this would be headed by a symbol such as this. You've got your two columns with your fire or light representing Lucifer in the center, the pen and the sword, almost in a kind of like a Freemason compass type of V. But that's for another video entirely. I'll go ahead and make a video sometime in the near future where I'll read through this entire paper. It's only about 6 or 7 pages, I think. 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so 10 pages. Not too bad, but still a little bit more than I've got time for this evening. I just wanted to make this quick video referencing how I believe now, after reading through these PDFs, that a lot of the technology used in weather warfare is actually being used for psychological warfare as well, and more than just creating discomfort by making it rain on enemy forces or droughting out certain areas. I believe that how they talk about ionization of the air and the atmospheric electromagnetic activity in the Psy-op paper. I think a lot of that comes into play when you get over here into the weather as a force multiplier, owning the weather in 2025 paper, which was done by the Air Force back in 1996. Obviously, this was written in 1996, and we are a lot closer to year 2025 now, and I do believe that they have just been getting better and better at their weather modification, as we all know from just simply looking up in the sky at the aerosol spraying that's going on. So anyway, I will get further into this paper, the owning, or weather as a force multiplier, owning the weather in 2025, at a later date, sometimes very soon, and I will go more into depth with this from Psy-Ops Mind War, the Psychology of Victory paper, with the Satanist here, the well-known Satanist, who was one of the main contributors to that paper. Also, Meteo Systems, I always say it all screwed up. Meteo Systems is another, it's a civilian company, a civilian corporation that is heavily involved in this weather modification, and through, I believe personally, through the use of their towers here and how they claim to make particulate in the atmosphere vibrate to become larger particles of condensation, which eventually become rainfall. I believe these stations are actually dual-purpose stations to be used not only to create precipitation in desired areas or to be used as a weather weapon, but I also believe that it has to do with not only their propaganda and their their Psy-op war, but I also think that it's probably a very dangerous weapon in the physical sense. I also think that these weapons could probably be used to cause serious harm on individuals and human beings, if not paralysis and death. So that's a topic that I will get into a lot further here in the near future. But for tonight, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up, call it a night. I'll leave the links to these two PDFs and Meteo Systems down below in the description box. And I think that'll do it. So thank you very much for your time, and please leave a comment. I'd like to know if you have any additional information, or maybe you guys see something I don't. Maybe you guys have a different angle on it, or if I'm wrong, you can correct me. So, alrighty guys, I greatly appreciate your time now.